I know that many of you have become quite interested in Warhammer the Old World recently. For whatever reason that may be. Firstly, Warhammer the Old World it's beaten the odds. You know, a lot of people said when it came out, it was going to be a flash in the pan and that it wasn't going to last. But here we are, coming up to 2 years later, and as Tonka said, Old World, Best World. A lot of people look very favorably on this game. It is definitely growing. It's going from strength to strength. And Games Workshop is putting out a lot of stuff for it. You know, we're seeing Arcane Journal after Arcane Journal. We're seeing new models being released left, right, and center. Warhammer Fantasy is back. And despite all of what the naysayers may have said, it has definitely not been dead on arrival. It has, I mean, obviously it's the diehards fans that, you know, the old fantasy players, they've got it going. But over the last, few months, we have seen a lot of 40k players and other players who have become very interested in this game because it clearly has got legs. So it's not just the fact that it's not just that it's beaten the odds, but it is a good game. It's a good game, and at the end of the day, war gamers like good games. We are very gameplay driven, right? I mean, I know we go on about the lore and I know we go on about the hobbying, but it has been my experience of playing 40k. I've been playing 40k since I was 5. So I'm playing it since I was for about 27 years now. But if we discount, obviously, when I had no idea what I was doing, we just look at the last 12 years or so when I've been playing it competitively. And what I have noted, not just competitively, playing it in a more grown up, more knowing what the hell I was doing kind of capacity, not just like a kid just, I don't know what this is, I'll just get it kind of thing, right? So it's a game which is good, and in my experience, war gamers are gameplay led. We talk about lore, we talk about fluff, we talk about hobbying, but we're gameplay led. That's why, for example, Warhammer 40k 7th edition kind of struggled, and the game ended up getting massively reinvented because it was so wildly unbalanced that the gameplay was unfun. We never had more unit options back then. We've only had things cut out of the game since then. Forge World going away, 10th edition, also Finecast going away, Metal going away. 7th edition had the most options out of anything, and yet it was considered by some to be a disaster because the gameplay was kind of bad, right? It was just unbalanced as all hell. Similar things to why Warhammer Fantasy went away. Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition was, Purple Sun. If you know, kind of thing. So Warhammer players and war gamers in general, we like good games. And so not only has Old World proven that it's got legs and that it's not dead on arrival, but it's also very favorably talked about by the people that do play it. And so we're starting to see more and more people starting to become interested, which is great. And a big thing also is that we're getting towards the end of Warhammer 40k 10th edition. And so, you might be like, you know what? We know that 11th is coming out in June. I think there was a leaked picture recently where someone said it was coming out I think it was either June 26th or 28th or 29th, end of June, right? So it's about 8 months away. And so you're a war gamer, right? But it's kind of like when you know a video game is going to be discontinued. I've talked about this before. There's that game called New World, and it's got the developer. It had 40,000 players, and then the developer said, "Hey, we're going to be shutting down the servers in 14 months' time." It didn't really matter that it was 14 months away. The next day, it went from 40,000 players down to 6 because no one wants to really put time into something they think that's not going to be a waste of time, but they're going to have to relearn a whole bunch of new stuff in the future anyway, right? So might as well just go over that new thing, kind of thing. So there's a lot of people that are thinking, well, I could start investing in 40k, but we know that GW likes to flip the script. What's good now will be bad in 11th. What's bad now will be good in 11th. So I might just chill on 40k for a moment, right? I might just chill. And that's a totally reasonable stance to take. But you're still a war gamer. You still want to be able to play games. You still want to be able to have fun. And so maybe this is around the time where you go and have a little bit of a holiday. Now, I know, you got a bit of a holiday. Maybe you look over at Horus Heresy, although that does seem to have had, it's had some issues, right? So obviously one of the natural places you might end up going, because you want to stay in the GW bubble. You want to get a game which is going to have has got a well-established community there already. 2 years of legs underneath it. You're going to be able to get games in of it. So Old World, very natural place for people who are looking for a bit of a 40k holiday until 11th edition comes in, right? Right. Well, this is where I got you. All right? You want to get into Old World, but you're not, A, you might not be sure which army to pick, and B, you might want to try out a few armies, but you know you're not going to have time to try them all out before 11th edition comes along and maybe tempts you back. So I have got a solution for you. I have got a way that you can collect 4 different Old World factions using one army. And even better, you can get it all pretty much in one box. Maybe a couple of add-ons. Tickled your fancy? Are you interested? Well, before I show you the box, the 4 factions that you might be thinking, well, okay, what 4 factions can this cover? Empire, Tonia, Cathay, and then Renegade Crown. So 3 proper factions, and then Renegade Crowns is a proper faction, but they're the mercenary guys, right, from the Arcane Journal, right? Demons. No, so 4, right? All right. Sounds too good to be true. Well, let me introduce you to and prepare for the collective groan. Prepare to be introduced to the Warlord Games Samurai Starter Army. Ha ha! You thought this was a Games Workshop video. It's a Warlord video. No. So, in all seriousness, this is an Old World video, but the models are going to come from Warlord Games, okay? But I'm not trying to get you into a Warlord Games game system or anything like that. This is the Warlord Games Samurai Starter Army. And right now it's on sale for 80 quid, but normally it's 94 pounds, which is still very, still very cheap, right? Now, in this starter army, you get 40 Ashigaru spearmen, 40 Ashigaru with missile weapons, and then you get a bunch of, I think you get 20 samurai, and you get 12 of the knights, okay? 12 as the knight. Now, that's a really, really, really good deal. That's 100 infantry and 12 cavalry, and you get a character on horse as well. Okay, we can see some of these models. These are pretty decent models. Like, the detail is there. And one thing that is, you could swing that as high elves as well. 5 armies in one. 5 armies. You could swing it as high elves as well, for sure. You're absolutely right, Tom. High elves as well. Now, if you look, these models are perfectly reasonably detailed. In fact, considering that a lot of the Old World models are quite old themselves, okay, these ones are definitely on par with existing Old World models and might even be better than some of them, okay? But we'll say on par for the time. Okay, we won't over-exaggerate. We'll say on par. So you can see we've got the Ashigaru Spearmen here. Now, these flags on the back are optional. You don't have to glue them on. Some people will want to, some people won't. We've also got the missile troops. You can build the missile troops with either guns or bows. And then we've got the samurai, which come equipped typically with katanas. I think some have got a couple of other weapon options, but typically they're coming with katanas. And then we've got the cavalry, which can come with either spears or bows. Now, again, there may be like half have to have bows and half have to have spears. It might be, but if I know Warlord Games, and we might be able to check some of the sprues out here, but if I know Warlord Games, that they're probably going to have the ability for you to give them all bows or give them all spears. They'll give you enough bits, right? We'll see, right? And then you've got the character. The character actually does look pretty badass. I'm not going to lie, the character does actually look pretty good. Now, so you can see the front of it comes with loads of cool transfers and stuff as well. And you can see here's the box. So 12 plastic samurai, all plastic apart from the commander on horse. So there's almost no resin. There's no resin. There's basically no metal. It's all plastic. All right. Now, that is 100 plastic infantry and 12 plastic cavalry. And we've got some, and if you wanted to buy, you've got the starter army, but you also can buy the boxes individually. So right now things are on sale. So if you want to buy 20 samurai, it'll be £21 for them. I wonder if there's some pictures of the sprues here. It might help us find them. No, I did find the sprues, but I found them on like some unboxing videos. Okay, so the pictures aren't here. You can find pictures of the sprues online. So you can see here, you've got loads of different options with your samurai. And like I said, the flags on the back are optional. Basically, you just glue them on if you want them to have them or not. And you get the samurai horses, 12 guys, 25 pounds or 20 pounds, 21 pounds right now. You've got the Ashigaru missile troops, and you've got the Ashigaru spearmen. So pretty good, pretty good deals. Whether you decide to go with whatever you decide to go with, whether you decide to just go with the samurai starter army, or whether you decide to build based off the individual boxes, pretty good deals either way. I mean, this is normally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes, which come in at £25 each. So normally this would be plus the commander on top. I wonder if we can find the commander model. They do have some other cool models in here. I'll just have a quick look. I can't find. It might be a commander unique to that box. Oh, look, we can see the sprues. Sick. Well, we'll have a look at those in a moment. Let's have a look at those now. So the commander's unique to the box, to be fair, but let's have a look. So Ashigaru's troops sprue. Yep, can see that all the spears there. You can see the flags totally optional there, so that's good. Samurai, so cavalry riders. So you can see you do get enough to just give them spears. So you don't have to give them the bows. You're not going to end up with some funky loadout. If you want 12 lances, you've got 12 lances, all right? That's just the horsey boys and the samurai infantry. Again, there is enough katanas here for everyone to have a katana, which is great. So I had faith in Warlord games. They give you enough bits on the sprues. So if you want to go all spears, you can do. If you want to go all katanas, you can do. If you want to go a mix, you can do. All right, cool. So we'll go back to the samurai starter army just to have the models there. All right. So this is a really, really solid foundation. 40 missile troops, 40 spearmen, 12 cavalry, and then 20 elite infantry. So how could we adapt this army? How could we adapt this army to Warhammer the Old World and the factions that we've been talking about? Well, with Empire, it's super easy, right? Ashigaru are state troops with spears. The missile troops, you can either have them as Empire archers, or you can have them as handgunners, depending on what you want. And the samurai, great swords. Easy peasy. Samurai are great swords. And then the cavalry, you could, if you went for bows, maybe you could say pistoliers. Might be a bit of a stretch, though. Probably best with saying, we're going to go for the cavalry with the lances, and we're going to say they're Empire Knights. Right? Cool. So that covers you for Empire. It also, obviously, then covers you for Renegade Crowns, because Renegade Crowns, sellsword infantry. You can use the Ashigaru to represent sellsword infantry with spears. And what's kind of interesting is you could have them with spears and heavy armor under Renegade Crowns. So it might actually be even better there. You've also got the Renegade Crowns, sellsword infantry who can take handguns, and you can also have Empire. You can also take Empire archers as part of Renegade Crowns. And then, of course, you've got the samurai again, who could be veteran sellswords with great weapon. There you are. And then the cavalry can be used as the either sellsword cavalry or the veteran freeblade. Sorted either way. Can you use the guns from the range units on the cavalry? That is a great question. Shall we have a look? So the bodies they're like the old school bodies from GW, where there's not like the arms or any parts. They've just got like flat connecty bits. So it's just like a flat torso, right? Do we have the sprues for the Ashigaru shooty boys? I don't see the sprues for the Ashigaru shooty boys. It's a solid maybe. It's a solid maybe. I'll have a look, just checking everything. Because obviously if you could, here we go. It's at the bottom here. So they've also just got like the flat arm torsos. So I would say yes. I don't know because I haven't built them myself. So I don't know. But my instinct would be that both of the kits have got torsos with flat connection bits. The torsos will probably be very similar widths. So you should be able to take the guns from here and put them on is it Samurai Horseman? You should be able to. Worst case, Alaska Web makes a good point. Worst case scenario, you can actually swap the torsos as well, because they'll just connect on a flat bit on the bottom. So so the answer is a very solid maybe. I'd say 90% yes. Okay. So that's how maybe you could make some pistoliers if you had some spare guns left over. Yeah, for sure. So obviously, so we've got Empire, we've got Renegade Crowns, then we get Bretonia. Okay. Well, at the end of the day, Bretonia is humans. and the Bretonnian peasants come with pole arms. They're a unique weapon, and pole arms can be used as either halberds or, you guessed it, spears. So you can absolutely, the Ashigaru spearmen very, very well represent the, really well represent the Bretonnian men-at-arms. And don't forget, each Ashigaru comes with a sword. So you could kind of be like, hey, when they're using the spears, when they're using the spears, that represents the spear profile of the polearm. Or maybe they pull out the katana they've got on their hip and use that when they're using the other profile. Or however you want it. Either way, or maybe you just commit to just using the spear profile to make sure you're not confusing your opponent. Or maybe it's not that hard to follow that peasants have got pole arms, right? It's not that hard to follow, right? So you've got multiple ways, but I think it's not really a stretch. Ashigaru could definitely be Bretonnian peasants. And obviously, if you give all your Ashigaru bows, then they're peasant bowmen. And then obviously the samurai become knights of the realm on foot, and then the cavalry become whatever cavalry you want, whether they're errant or knights of the realm. You could probably even get questing knights out of them, because you can see that some of them do come with swords. I saw one on the bigger picture. Let's see if we can find it. A samurai horseman. Yeah, you see this motherfucker's coming with a sword. So you could build them with swords for questing knights, or build them with lances for any of the other three kind of knights. There you are. Go back to the beginning. I just like to have that front picture up there. So that's Bretonnia. And then we said Cathay. Well, kind of obvious. Samurai cavalry, jade lancers. Ashigaru, the new peasant levy, which come with spears. Samurai, jade warriors. And then we've also seen the peasants can be armed with bows, but we've also seen that they have the new Cathay have got guns as well, gun infantry. So until the recent reveals from Games Workshop, I don't know if these guys would have worked that well for Cathay. But now with the release, what we've seen with the breaching of the bastion, I think is what it's called. This totally works for Cathay. Totally works for Cathay. No questions asked. Not even a thing. Doesn't even need to be questioned. Yeah. And then someone in chat recently actually pointed out that, as in like literally in this video, pointed out that high elves. I mean, so obvious. The Ashigaru can be spearmen. The bowmen obviously can be high elf archers. Samurai, sword masters. And then the cavalry, Illyrian reavers, if they've got bows. You've got Dragon Prince and Silverhelm. So you could absolutely represent all 5 of those armies using this. And there's probably some I've not even thought about. But you could absolutely represent all 5 armies using this. And people in chat keep saying this, by the way. And I love this idea. I absolutely love this idea. If you are someone who's going, but how do I square this circle with them being old world? Nippon. And no, I'm not talking about being cold in here. There is a nation in Warhammer the Old World that not a huge amount is known about them, but they are basically fantasy Japan. Cathay is fantasy China, Nippon is fantasy Japan. It's that simple. Now, they haven't got any rules, but they are a legitimate established faction. So you could say that you are collecting a Nippon army, and you could then use whichever army rules you felt best represented that. And you could change that from time to time. And one day you fancy using the Empire rules, one day you fancy using Renegade Crowns, one day you fancy using High Elves. If you're trying to be like, well, how did these Japanese soldiers get there? You say they're not Japanese soldiers. These are Nippon soldiers who are maybe who are fighting under maybe some sort of expedition, maybe some sort of colony, or simply the best answer that I've been using since day one of Old World coming out, even before Renegade Crowns existed, Dogs of War, sellswords. That simple, okay? Because Renegade Crowns very much represents the mercenary armies sort of in the border princes, but there are mercenaries all over. There are mercenaries all over the Old World. Where violence needs to be done, there'll be someone who you can pay to do it. Whether it's in far Lustria, or whether it is in the heart of the Empire, whether it's on the borders of the Chaos Wastes, or in the middle of the Badlands, you are going to find soldiers for hire. And you know what? Those soldiers for hire are not going to have uniforms which are conducive to a particular established nation state like the Empire or like Bretonnia or anything like that. It's just that simple. So this army right here lets you play 5 armies in one. And I want to say one thing here, which I think is very, very important to say. All of the units that we have talked about are core units. And I don't mean core as in they go in the core selection in-game army builder. What I mean is they're foundation units, they're fundamental units. If High Elf Spearmen ever get sent to Legends, the game's got bigger problems. Then the game's got big problems. If Empire State Troops ever get taken away for some reason, the game's got big problems, right? Every unit that we've talked about is one that, touch wood, should be around for a long time, for as long as this game is around. So what I love about this is I'm not saying, hey, look, you can get this like niche box set and it'll allow you to technically build these niche units, which will allow you to technically play 5 armies. No, you will have an army based on solid foundation of multiple factions. High Elf Spearmen, Empire State Troops, Cathayan Peasants, Bretonnian Peasant, Renegade Crown, whatever happened, even if Renegade Crowns go away because they're an Arcane Journal army, still got Empire State Troops, still got Cathay, still got High Elves. Do you know what I mean? So all of the units that we've talked about across all 5 factions have got legs, have got longevity. And that, I think, is what's so solid, so solid about this. But there's another couple of bits that I want to add on here. You can save a lot of money by going with this, but it doesn't mean you're locked out from getting some extra support weapons. Because at the end of the day, if we look at this, maybe we're struggling a little bit in the, if you're Cathay, you might want some balloons. Okay. If you're Empire, you might want some cannons. Well, you can save money getting your core done here, getting your foundation done here, and then you could end up going for some, going for some normal Warhammer the Old World. Maybe you're like, okay, I'll get that Cathayan army, and then I'll buy a rocket battery or build 2 Grand Cannons. Sick. Maybe you go, oh, okay, I'll go for Empire, and I'll get myself a couple of Hellblaster volley guns. Maybe you get a steam tank. Maybe you go for some cannons. Fuck it. Maybe you go for the Bretonnians, you get some trebuchets. Sure, the crew look like they're sort of from Bretonnia, but I bet you'll have a few spare models left over that you'll be able to kit bash into crew for this trebuchet at the end of the day, right? So you've got loads. You could buy the Samurai Army box set and then just buy a bunch of different support weapons, and it would save you so much money. It would still save you money. It's going to save you a lot more money than buying everything directly from Games Workshop, believe me, because this is 20 Jade Warriors for £54.50, and we just saw 20 Jade Warriors, £21.25. Admittedly on sale, but you know what? I still count that because if Games Workshop did sales, it'd be great, right? So there you are. Now, we've looked at this all through the lens of course, it being the Samurai Starter Army, but it is worth pointing out that there is a number of other things you can get for Pike and Shot. So you might not be that interested in those models. And maybe you're like, well, I like the idea of what you're throwing down, Mordian, but I'm not that bothered about going Japanese. There are so many starter armies here, boys. Now, they might not have the same flexibility, shall we say, but there are a number of other starter armies that you could take advantage of. I think let's have a look at those 2 that we've just picked out here. The Battaglia Starter Army, 80 plastic pike and musket infantry, 24 plastic cavalry, 10 plastic firelock musketeers, and 40 full color flags. Okay, well, I'm not sure. The flags you might want to go for, to be fair. There you go. Look at that. I'm not sure how you'd necessarily adapt this, but hey, they look like pistoliers to me, boys. Lots of pistoliers. Got some big ass musket boys here. Got a mixture here. And then you've got the classic Landsknecht army, which is just the most Empire. You know what I mean? The most Empire. 91 quid at the moment. Still only the price of a combat patrol and less than the price of a battalion. And it comes with 96 plastic Landsknecht pikemen, 24, which you could use obviously as like spearmen and stuff. 24 plastic Landsknecht with Zweihanders, 24 plastic Landsknecht with crossbows or the, is it the arquebus? Handguns. And you get a bunch of characters. And you can use the metal handbush light gun as an Empire engineer with a Hockland long rifle. There you go. There's loads of stuff you can have a look at in here. Some of it will be relevant. Some of it you might not be bothered about. I mean, some of these are pretty interesting. Like just going, look at these Landsknecht guys here. Oh, I don't want my state troops to have pikes. Okay. Well, you can get your Landsknecht to have halberds and great swords. I mean, how many do you get in this box? 36 with halberds and 36 with two-handed swords for 82 quid. That's not too bad, although it is probably worth checking. It is worth checking if it's just cheaper to get the regular ones from on that, right? How many state troops do we get in a box? Well, great swords is £54.50 for is it 20? Do you get weird numbers like 19? No, it is 20. Okay, they didn't fuck us in that regard. And then state troops, how many do you get here? 30. So it's probably still worth it to go down that route, but I think it's less of an obvious deal, right? It's less of an obvious deal. So yeah, I think, we've kind of gone off the original, what were we saying? The original point. But, I was just pointing out there is a bit other pike and shot stuff you might want to take advantage of. But, you've really got, I think the Samurai Starter Army does you very, very well. Yeah, it really, really does do you very, very well. One thing I do want to check, and I know we're really going off now, but it's, worth just whilst we're here having a quick look. I wonder if Hail Caesar's got anything in here. Because I bet the Romans, Warlord Games have been selling Romans for ever and ever and ever. And I do wonder if you could get something from these Roman starter armies. I bet there is probably some stuff here. Celts, you might be able to go Celts and go the new Marauders, right? I bet there's I think you get a lot of these models. Although I will say I think they are a little smaller in scale. It is worth mentioning. I think the Hail Caesar models are a little smaller in scale. So that is maybe worth being aware of. But there seems to be some potential in here. 60 plastic Imperial Roman legionaries, 20 plastic Praetorian Guard, 20 plastic Roman veterans, 24 plastic Roman auxiliaries. I mean, that's 124 infantry. That's 124 infantry. And yeah, they're all sword and board. But I'm seeing free blades with heavy armor and shield and sword for some real sticky bastards. I'm seeing it, And then you've got Caesar's Legions, late Republican Roman starter army. What do we get in this bad boy? 100 models, 96 Roman legions, 1 Scorpion, 2 Roman officers. So yeah, it's obviously up to you what you decide if these are of any interest. How many Celts you get? 40 Celts for £23 at the moment. So some potential there. How many of these Imperial Romans do you get? 30, 20 quid. I mean, they are cool, aren't they? They are cool. Romans as Telians, Romans as dwarves. Interesting, because the models are a little shorter. Romans as dwarves could seriously work. Yeah, and you could have you could go royal clan, and then the bolt thrower could be just a bolt thrower. Oh, the Scorpion could be a bolt thrower, couldn't it? Romans as Telians is a look. Let's talk about how you paint those shields, though. I think they're transfers. Yeah, they're transfers, so you don't even have to paint them, mate. So you just you literally just paint. You get all the shields, spray them Ironbreaker, and then just put the transfers over the top. How sweet, how sick. I think that's the case anyway. I think that's the, shield transfers. There you go. I mean, that's a selling point right there, isn't it? Getting those sick-ass shields. Yeah, that's a selling point right there, isn't it? So, you've got a few different things going on. Going back to, I think, what we originally looked at, which was the samurai army here. I think that was sort of the main point of the video. But as you can see, there's a few options you've got. There's a few options you've got. But I think if you want 5 armies in one, the samurai starter army, and then just adding on the various weapons that you want, whether you get them from Games Workshop or whether you maybe 3D print them, I think is probably the way to go. And so yeah, that's my life hack, my wargaming life hack of how you could get 5 different old world armies, which are very which should still be around for a while to go. Not niche, all solid, all good. How you can get 5 armies for one army. One army can cover 5 armies. There you are. And then we looked at some extra stuff as well. There you are. All right. Let us know what you think. What do you think? Did the hype deliver? Did the hype deliver? If you're watching this live, let me know in chat. If you're watching this in the inevitable stream highlight, let me know down in the comment section. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Pickalock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.